All right, everybody. Top five Claudio matches. As we discussed in the show earlier with producer Joe, AJ, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. That's the first of all, I Joe keeps burying the lead over there. He's not mentioning his book. He's actually coming out with Producer by Chance by producer Joe. It's going to be a fantastic book. It's an incredible 3-year journey here on the Working Fans podcast.
Breaking news. Check it out. He
Now
does
I put pressure on him that he has to write the book. So
he does the work so you don't have to. Hey, I want to do something a little different today. I want to start off with my own list. All right.
oh, so you don't want anybody spoiling your list is what you want. You want to
I haven't
give it out there before anybody else can come up with a good name.
I just thought I came up with a pretty creative list today. And
Absolutely.
so I'm sure
I
somebody
can't wait to hear about Mae Young. Go ahead.
some of these names. Actually, why don't you? Well, you go too. We'll go together. All right. So I'll go first.
Sure, we'll start off.
All right. I got for Claudio. I got Terry Funk. All right. There's a guy that maybe he doesn't have like the same build or necessarily the same style, but Terry could get anybody over and make any type of match work. He's that good of a pro. And I think with an athlete freak like Claudio, they would have tore the house down.
I think it's great that you're pointing out that Terry Funk doesn't have the same build or style as Claudio. That's incredible that you picked up on that.
In case you didn't know and you'd never seen Terry Funk.
Two things you might not know about Terry Funk.
He ain't like Claudio. He ain't built like Claudio. All right, here's a guy not built like Claudio either. A little more thick, though. But Dr. Death Steve Williams. Dr. Death Steve Williams, who's passed away. I think him and Claudio would have had a real physical Japanese-style match, beat the crap out of each other. And in that same nature, I'm going to say this guy, too, before I get your comments on it, Terry Gordy. So both Williams and Gordy, I think both would have been great matches for Claudio.
I like the fact that you mentioned that Williams is dead, but you don't feel you need to mention that Terry Gordy's also dead. That's a way to break only half the story. I think both of them would have been fantastic.
Yeah, both would have been fantastic. Here's another one for you that I don't expect to see a lot of people have this one on. The Big Boss Man. Ray Traylor. When you talk about athletic freak, also dead. There's a list. You're going to see a theme going here, with the exception of Terry Funk.
Who's almost dead, so.
Almost. Ain't got him yet. He dead yet, motherfucker. Well, I'll just go right to my final guy. Ravishing Rick Rude. Tremendous body. Could pump his ass off. Has since passed on. Rest in peace, brother. But he would have been a hell of a match.
Now, I love your list. Every guy you mentioned on there is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
I'll throw one more. I'll do a Jake rule.
Yeah, by all means. Just in case you haven't covered all of my wrestlers, please throw another one out there.
Nah, I know where you got this guy. Stan Lariat Hansen.
No way in hell.
He passed away. He's not passed away. He's still going. The bad man from Borger. He would have been a real fun brawl. So, anyway.
Still wouldn't be able to see who he was wrestling, though.
No, Claudio had to look out for that close line.
All right, I guess I'll do my list next. I would have liked to have seen Regal in his prime against Claudio. I think that would have been a hell of a matchup. I would have liked to have seen the two of them just beat the living hell out of each other. Plus, you'd get the technical side also. I would have liked to have seen Andre the Giant. We've seen him do the swing to the Big Show. How much fun would it have been to see the big? And would Andre have allowed the big swing like the Big Show did?
I don't know if he could have done the big swing. I guess maybe. I mean, it's still like it is Andre. I don't know if that's a layup, but
yeah, that's Andre was a little bit more protective of his big man status too. I have Kurt Angle. I think Kurt Angle in his prime, especially early 2000s Angle, would have been absolutely incredible against Claudio.
Keep the tally list too, by the way. That's going to be one of your boys to look out for.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's another one of my boys to watch out for is coming up next. Will Ospreay. Yeah. I think Will Ospreay would have been an interesting matchup, and it's a matchup that we could see, quite frankly, still. So, whereas a lot of the ones on my list, unfortunately, we cannot see because Andre, like most of your list, is dead.
Yes. Rest in peace, bro.
And then I have a guy on my list who's almost died, Barry Windham. I love Barry Windham's style. I think that the way he wrestled, it would have been both a physical match, and then it also, I think the two of them would have had great chemistry together. And Barry's similar to Claudio in the sense that early Barry did not look very strong, but he'd get big guys up there and superplex the crap out of them.
I love Barry Windham. I'm a little disheartened I didn't pick Barry.
Yeah, I just think that my list all together, I like the fact that our lists were a little bit different. You picked a lot of my favorite wrestlers, which I could have easily have gone with, but I'm glad that our lists were a little bit different.
All right, I'm gonna do something different here. I'm gonna give you 2 lists off the bat because I think I have 2 more than you this week. All right, I got Ed Davis. He's got Kachuka Okada, Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, nice one.
Takayama, Undertaker, and Owen Hart.
I'm pretty sure we have seen Undertaker versus Cesaro at some point.
Maybe.
I love the pick, not CM Punk, Owen Hart. I love the Owen Hart pick.
Yeah, Owen could be one to look out for. I don't remember. I might see that under there again. We'll keep an eye out.
Well, I just put Hart so we can throw them both in there. It's fine.
I don't think we're going to do that. Jack Allison. Now, he's got an interesting list, a little European flavor. He's got Pete Dunne, Mark Coffey, Kurt Angle, Gunther, and a name you got to watch out for, not Owen, but Bret Hart.
I like the fact that you said a name we have to watch out for right after I got done marking off another Kurt Angle victory.
Kurt's on fire. We'll see. We'll see. It's early.
Dave might be showing a little favoritism here towards the Harvard.
I picked Bret. I knew Bret was on this list a few times, though.
Let's see here. I've got Daniel Crume. I assume that's how you say that, from the Mothership Facebook group.
Crume!
He's got William Regal like I do. He's got Bryan Danielson. He's got Mr. Ric Flair. He's got Sting. Now, I assume he means Sting in his prime.
Sure.
I think that would have been interesting to see Sting in his prime versus
still see it.
Absolutely. Some say Sting's in the best he's done. We also, nobody says that. But he did have somebody on the list who I think you're going to pop for. He's got Big Van Vader.
It's a good one. It's a real good one.
Did you want me to go one more time? Because I've got Mr. Albert Bettis.
We'll take turns. We'll take turns. I'm a little bit ahead of you. I like that Big Van Vader pick though. That one really is good. And that'd be another one to see him swing around.
Absolutely.
Tim Barnes. He's got Miro, which could happen soon. That's excellent. Darby Allin, Max Caster, Andrade, and Matt Hardy. I know what you're thinking. Matt Hardy, Andrade, dream matches. If you could do anybody, those are the ones you would want, especially Caster, given his legendary status.
You know me, if there's anything I believe in, it's that a dream match, when you go by definition, is matches that have already happened. And so it's great that people actually do that and follow those guidelines. All right. Although we are chomping at the bit for that Max Caster Claudio match.
Never happened.
I have got Albert Bettis from the Mothership Facebook group. He's got the one and only Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Who will get a mark.
Yep.
Kurt Angle, who gets another mark. Bret Hart, who gets a mark. Okada. And then the Texas Rattlesnake, somebody who doesn't come up as often as you would expect him to in a lot of these lists. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think he's become forgotten because I think that anybody who's 20 years or younger, quite frankly, doesn't remember Steve anymore.
You know what's funny? I don't know if that's true, but you know what's funny? I thought when you were going to mention that list, when you said Texas first, I thought you were going to go the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich.
Well, that would have gone along with his other picks of Lesnar, Angle, Hart, and Okada. That screams Texas Tornado to me.
I don't know about you too, but I always like the Texas Tornado version of Kerry Von Erich better too.
Oh, absolutely. Wow. The one-footed wonder.
Spin.
Well, first of all, the only reason he was a tornado is because he couldn't keep balance on one foot, so he just kept spinning.
There's a tornado coming.
Yeah, we don't like the modern day warrior Kerry Von Erich. That's for damn sure.
Nah, he's all right, but Texas Tornado, where it's at. All right. I got Stephen Dash Brown. He's got one we could see soon. Almost saw Zack Sabre Jr. Walter. So yeah, Walter Gunther. That might be a couple votes for him. Ishii, Osprey, and then Black Taurus.
Oh, that'd be a good one. I like Black Taurus.
Cool.
I did add Walter to the list just in case.
Okay. There we go. We'll keep an eye on him.
Well, since he's tied for second place, I figured we would actually add him to the list. We've got Jason Ward from the Book in the Territory Facebook group. For those of you that are fans of Jim Cornette.
There you go. What's up?
All right. We've got Waldo Von Erich. We've got Stanislaw Zabisco, not Larry Zabisco, but Stanislaw.
Yes,
so we joke around about this, but me and Dave actually do know the history of wrestling. Waldo Von Erich was a Nazi sympathizer character that wrestled. He was a pre-runner to the actual Von Erichs. You've got Stanislaus Zabisco, who was not related to Larry Zabisco. He was actually a legitimate shoot fighter who could actually wrestle, who came over from Poland and was a hell of a wrestler. Antonio Rocca, of course, a lot of you people who are fans of the Lucha Libre style or fan of the Latin style of wrestling would love Antonio Rocca. And he happened to be the favorite wrestler for a short time before Razor Ramon of Mama Smith.
Very true. True story. She would talk all the time about Argentina, Antonio Rocca, and they don't make him like Antonio Rocca anymore.
Now, here's an interesting one. Ox Baker, for a short period of time in my career, I actually was managed by Ox Baker until he came up with the idea that I should wrestle as Adam Evil.
You missed the boat.
At that point, I decided that maybe it was time to go in a different direction. All right. And the biggest name on the list, we've got one half of the Mulkey brothers, Bill Mulkey. I'm not sure why he picked that half, but good for him.
Should have took Ox's advice. You'd still be wrestling. All right. I got Nick Sharp. He's got Minoru Suzuki, FTR, either member or both in a team match. Danhausen, and go back to feuding with his longest running nemesis, the Ring Steps. And apparently there's a video online of Cesaro, Claudio taking ring step after ring step bump. So, but I don't think.
Well, I've got a good one for you. Speaking of great professional wrestlers and somebody who I would have liked to have seen wrestle against Cesaro, we've got friend of the show and former guest of the show. I've got Bob Cook. If you've never seen Bob Cook, you've never seen a right hand. This man's got one of the best of them. However, his list is an interesting one. In his number 1 spot, he's got nobody. In his number 2 spot, he's got none. Number 3, he's got none. Number 4, also none. Oh, and wait a minute. Number 5 and the number 1 pick of all time for him, none.
I am going to suspect from this list that Bob is a huge fan, and he just really wanted to contribute. Thank you, Bob. We appreciate it.
I do want to clarify something for the fans listening at home or watching this. He did not actually mean none as in N-U-N. He was not talking about actually Claudio versus a sister hood of nuns. So I just want to clarify that before we go forward.
I think Bob just likes to be a smart ass once in a while, and that's okay. You know why?
We love Bob.
We love Bob. Mike Caldwell of BCW Pro Wrestling, former guest of the show, always giving us stuff to work with. He's got a list this week, and I love it. I'm not going to lie. He's got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Tell me that wouldn't be a hell of a match. He's got Macho Man Randy Savage. Another hell of a match. He's got, get your pen ready, Bret the Hitman Hart, because he knows that would be a great match. He's got Shawn Michaels. And finally, he went with the more popular Zabisco, Larry Zabisco, and he thinks that would be a hell of a match too.
I think this is the first time, and I could be wrong. Producer Joe, please correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time in 531 history that both of the Zabiscos have made different lists in the same show? I could be wrong, but hey, great things are popping.
I don't know if he knows that off the top of his head, but I think it is the first time, yes.
I'm pretty sure he's got it written in his notebook somewhere as to how many times the Zabiscos have been mentioned.
It's got to be the first time that both have been mentioned.
We finally pulled it off. Great job, guys.
Breaking news.
All right. So I've got the original Vandal Vandal Drummond. I assume that he's son of one of the Drummond boys from Different Strokes.
No, he's not. Former guest of the show. That's all right.
Oh, my bad. That's he's got La Momia. He's got the ghost of Spaceman Frank Hickey.
Ooh.
He's got Claudio and Orange Cassidy versus Brian Danielson and Scotty Too Hottie. And he's also got Claudio and Negro Navarro versus El Hijo del Vikings and Ricky Steamboat.
I love
and
it.
If that's not enough, El Hombre Invisible.
I love it. I absolutely love this guy's list every time he comes up with a
Vandal Drummond is the man. I joke around about Different Strokes just because I knew that was one of Dave's favorite shows as a kid, and I'd pop him. But Vandal, we love you.
What you talking about, AJ? All right, I got Randy Osga. He's got Randy Savage. Oh, another vote for Randy Savage. Wardlow. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret Hart. You might not.
Who's just taking the lead, by the way.
Keith Lee and Jordan Grace intergender match. Yeah, I like it.
I would love to see Jordan Grace also. Talk about strength. There are very few people as strong as Jordan Grace pound for pound in the world.
I agree.
All right, I've got Dave. Don't call me Fabian Fabe. He's got Bruno Sammartino.
Yes.
Chris Hero. Andre the Giant has come back.
Oh, he's back.
Big John Studd. And a man who I think is one of the most overrated wrestlers of all time, Antonio Inoki.
Antonio Inoki. Yeah. I know you said that to me before off air. One of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. Big fan. Yeah.
Did I say underrated? I meant overrated. My bad.
Alex Lorenzo coming at us here this week. He's got Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart makes another list. HBK, Sonata, Naito, and Jay White.
That's a hell of a list right there. First of all, I like anybody who includes Switchblade Jay White on their list.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the Switchblade. That's all right. I've got Mike Aubin. He's got a hell of a list here. I actually like this. He's got the Dynamite Kid, which I think would have been a heck of a match. He's got the British Bulldog, which power for power would have been a heck of a match. And then we've got Big John Studd making another list. Kurt Angle starting to come back here. Watch out, Brett. And then he's got The Undertaker.
I got Gabriel Horse from Twitter.
I don't think you can call our fans whores.
Horse. He's got Kenny Omega, Eddie Kingston, the rematch, Hangman Page, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin.
That's a good list, too. That's not too bad of current superstars. I've got Kevin Irvine. I assume he's related to the chef. What's his name there? Whatever his name is, Chef Irvine. And then we've got Brock Lesnar finally getting another vote.
Yes.
We've got Bret Hart getting another vote. We got the British Bulldog again. We've got Ishii and then Takayama.
I think that's the second one. Anthony Laterra's got a list again for us this week. He's got MJF, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Kenny Omega, and Will Ospreay. So a couple of AEW.
Ospreay with another one.
Yeah, back to back.
So I've got the illustrious producer Joe.
Oh, yeah.
He's got Antonio Inoki, who I think I shared my feelings with earlier. We've also got a Perro. We've got Brock Lesnar. He's got Okada. And now I could go with Bret Hart, but he went with the Jake rule. So I'm pretty sure he wants Harry Smith on the list. And we'll just leave Bret off.
Get out of here.
No. We'll count Bret. We won't count Harry. Whatever.
Don't screw Bret. I got Mike Flynn. He's got Minoru Suzuki, John Moxley, Ricochet, Bret Hart, and as he put it, a deep cut, Doug Furnace.
Oh, that's a great one.
That.
I'm glad he went with Doug Furnace and not Phil LaFon.
I like Phil LaFon, but I would have went with Doug Furnace too.
Absolutely. That's one of the pound for pound strongest men of all time.
How many more you got?
I've got 3 more lists.
Oh, okay. Give me 2 because I only got 1 more. So.
Oh, well, I've got Al Simmons. He's got Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, the British Bulldog, who is that we should have probably kept track of because he's now been said a lot. We've also got Kane, and then Takayama again.
Takayama.
And then I've got John White. He's got Owen Hart, Bret Hart. We've got Kurt Angle, Josh Alexander,
nice,
and Lesnar.
Nice. And it's funny because Jake St. John is back, and he's got Doug Furnace at number 5 as well. One of him have been talking. All right, Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada, Minoru Suzuki. I feel like Okada and Suzuki's made a few lists too. And number 1 on his list, Bret Hart.
I'm shocked.
Who you got?
All right, so I got Jason Blake.
Blake, the show. Main event this week, Jason Blake. Go ahead.
I'm going to assume he means Trent, what is it, Steven. How do you say his name? Severns. Trent Severns, because he put Trent 7, and I don't know who Trent 7 is. So we're going to go with Trent Severns, the tremendous former member of Mustache Mountain. Gunther, or Walter if you prefer. Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar finally comes back for another one. And then Bret the Hitman Hart comes back again.
Gotta love it. So we did not even count these during this, but you have an idea. I mean, you've kind of hit this, but what's the official count now?
Oh, no, there's a lot of them that we didn't count that could have probably added up to a good amount.
Yeah.
But Bret Hart, I know you're going to be shocked by this, came out on top with 12. Kurt Angle's in the number 2 spot with 6.
Yeah.
And then Lesnar and Ospreay are actually tied at 4.
Okay. All right. We will boot off Lesnar. Because let's be honest, they probably would have just jobbed out poor Cesaro anyway. But it would have been a hell of a match. Don't get me wrong. Lesnar brings something different to the table, but let's go with Ospreay because he's going to bring something a little different. Ospreay, yeah. Kurt Angle, and Bret.
Okay, but first of all, you're going to be the one who has to tell Lesnar he's booted off first.
I will not tell Lesnar anything. He won the list as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Interesting. I bet you would kick out Bret first.
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't? Okay.
So while Bret is not on my list of dream matches, Bret is one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. Yeah. He is a fun show and matched up well with everybody. Believe it or not, out of this list, even though I like Ospreay, he's got to go first. Yeah. Just because I think the other 2 styles match better with Cesaro, and I think they'd be more entertaining matches.
I agree. And I think like Terry Funk, Bret's just one of those guys, he finds a way just to get the best match out of somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I joke around about Bret because, I'm a dick. But when you watch his matches and you watch his classic matches, they still hold up.
So who's the winner in your opinion? Make me
Kurt Angle.
I'm actually struggling with both of these. Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt only because I think that when it comes to wrestling, to me, the style is a little bit more because normally you go, well, who would draw more?
Right.
But I don't think Bret's going to draw more than Kurt. I think if you look at their primes and their main events, I think they draw about the same.
I'm going to disagree a little bit, but I'm also going to agree and hear me out. I think Bret's the bigger draw because I think Bret just had a little more run main event. If you're asking me who had the better career, it's Bret Hart because he had a little bit of a longer tenure, more on top, more by himself. Although Kurt went for a while in TNA, it's just that TNA never quite made that national scene like WWE did at the time, unfortunately. Although that TNA had a hell of a fucking roster, and there's no reason to think they shouldn't have.
So I think the problem, and I do agree with you, but the problem is when Bret was at his best, is also some of the WWE's lowest numbers.
Right. Well, that's not where I'm going. I'm going to pick Kurt actually as the guy number 1 for the dream match, despite what our fans picking. But there's a reason. I just think I think Bret Hart was the bigger wrestler, although Kurt was in the Attitude Era, so this is a little more arguable. But here's what to me is an argument. Despite not being in the WWE for as long because of injuries, Kurt Angle, and maybe he didn't win as many titles as Brett did or Flair did, although he won a lot. Kurt is a once-in-a-lifetime wrestler. Honestly, when I really think about it, I don't think there's a better in-ring competitor, period, bell to bell, in terms of athleticism and strength and agility and in pure technical wrestling ability than Kurt Angle. And if Kurt was in his prime today, he would have amazing matches with Danielson, Claudio, and whoever. So, I am going to go with Kurt Angle this week. And I think that would be our number one dream match. Kurt Angle.
I agree with you for the same reasons that you said. To me, Kurt is the best all-around athlete that I've ever seen in a wrestling ring. There are people that might be faster. There are people that might be more aerial. There are people that might be stronger. But when you put the whole package together, there's nobody who could do everything the way that he could. And he still has one of the greatest moonsaults I've ever seen.
One of the best, Kurt Angle. You heard it first. This week's winner, 531, Kurt Angle.
All right, guys, we are coming back for more Pro Wrestling Illustrated's PWI 500 talk. And I wanted to do a talk on top 10 lists. And I wanted to keep it a little more organized than last week. So we'll have you guys, if you haven't, I assume you're not familiar with who made the top 10.
Nope. I mean, I know Roman Reigns is, number one. I remember hearing
I didn't want to look at it only because I knew we were going to be doing something, and I love the shock and awe of the situation.
Yeah, and Roman Reigns was number one this year. He was number 2 last year. And I'll kind of refer to where these guys were over the past couple of years and ask questions. But who do you think made it number 2 on the list? You got to remember the evaluation period is July 21st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. And think about in-ring achievement, influence, technical ability, competition, and activity.
Jon Moxley.
Yeah, I like Jon Moxley.
He did not even make the top 10. Let's see where.
How does Jon Moxley not make the top 10?
I'm gonna look.
If it's Hangman Page, I'm going to be absolutely shocked.
Hangman Page is in the top 10. Where do you think he fell?
I'm going to guess 7.
Who you got, Dave?
Number 5.
He was number 4.
Wow.
So who was number 2?
Number 2 was Kazuchika Okada.
Okay.
Now, with Okada being 2, who do you think placed 3rd?
See, I'm trying to remember this time period. That's the tough part. I
know Jericho's not, because we talked about Jericho last week.
Yeah, it's like
did they give it to C? Oh, please tell me they didn't give it to CM Punk.
CM Punk made number 3.
Number 3.
Wow.
Wow, Phil Brooks.
I was hoping I was wrong.
Now, the only name you probably won't get is number 8 because it's outside of the U.S. and not a familiar one like from Japan. Moxley, not on this top 10, but he was 6th the year before.
So who's 6th this year?
6th this year. I mentioned it last week, but it is Cody Rhodes.
Oh, Cody. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Now, the funny thing about that is if you think about the activity, Cody Rhodes was not as active as you could have been. He did have the matches with Seth Rollins, but those were far and few between. And he wasn't that active. He was primarily injured at the end of his run in AEW also.
If you look at that time period, though, he was, when he left, in a feud with Sammy Guevara for the TNT title a couple times. And then when he came to WWE, he was in some big spotlighted matches, though, with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. But to your point, yeah, I don't think he was incredibly active, but his matches were meaningful. So, yeah, I can see why Cody would make the top 10. I don't know if I would have had him.
I'm not surprised. Who was number 5, though?
Moxley actually made 12. Number 5 was Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
Oh, no, that makes sense. He had a hell of a year.
Yeah. This is a kayfabe list, and this is based off of their kayfabe accomplishments. And Bobby Lashley is one of the more consistent competitors in that regard.
Yeah, and before, you got to remember, before Reigns unified the belts, Lashley had a hell of a run.
Yeah, Bobby was booked strong.
Now, number 8, like I said, it's a foreign name. Who is somebody you've heard their name a lot, but you're not familiar with the wrestler?
I think if is it Vikingo from Mexico, AAA? That would be a name I'm not too familiar. A person I'm not too familiar with.
El Hijo del Vikingo was number 8 this year.
No shit.
Wow.
Because I was thinking about it, like I'm familiar enough with like top acts in Japan, but Mexico, I know Bandito, I know Roosh, so I'm like, okay, who's a top Mexican athlete that I haven't heard a ton of? And I listened to Conan's podcast, and he's mentioned him a few times.
Bandito and Jericho had a hell of a match this week.
Bandito is a fucking amazing machine, by the way. Just a little sidebar here. Van Kingo is awesome from what I've heard, but Bandito, that one-handed press slam he does, the suplex where he holds the guy up for a minute, outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you've got an AEW wrestler, a WWE wrestler, and somebody that used to be an ROH wrestler rounding out the top 10.
So Ospreay did not make the top 10?
Ospreay did not make the top 10.
Wow.
Let's see where he placed. Now, who is somebody that's been injured more lately, but would have had a good run on the first end of this?
He was, is he an AEW talent or a WWE?
WWE. Will Ospreay was 27th.
Wow.
Okay.
So I assume when they filled this out, they were all blindfolded.
Who's
I mean, for me, it's hard to take myself into that weird time frame of summer to summer because I tend to think about like the last 6 months.
Who's a top WWE talent injured?
Oh, Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. That's a good one.
Randy Orton. Let's see where he placed.
Not top 10.
Yeah. I was just thinking that he was injured recently and that he had a good run going before that.
47. Okay. All right. So who? All right. So was there a former Ring of Honor in the top 10 too? You said
there was.
Okay. Oh, Samoa Joe. He's got to be one of these guys, maybe.
There's no way Samoa Joe's in the top 10.
He's a former Ring of Honor guy. He's been hurt.
Yeah, but he didn't wrestle between last June and July and June. I don't think.
Ooh, I don't see Samoa Joe in here.
Interesting.
Solo Sikoa's in here.
What about Bryan Danielson?
Oh,
Bryan Danielson was number 7.
Yeah.
Bryan. Okay. Back in the comments. Jonathan Gresham.
Jonathan Gresham is number 10.
Okay.
That's why I said former Ring of Honor to kind of. Yeah, because it is up in the air where he's at now.
So we need one WWE guy.
Number 9.
Oh God! Tell me it's not Drew McIntyre.
Nope, he hasn't been injured as of late. Too bad.
Yeah. Oh, so the WWE guy's the guy who's injured.
Yep.
It's very much something of time out of mind right now.
Yeah, because we're having trouble even thinking of him.
Yeah, so it's not Randy Orton. Oh, no, it wouldn't be that. So okay, it's not Randy Orton. It's not Cody. We've already established Cody.
Oh yeah.
So, man, if it's not Randy Orton, what?
Give me 1 second because I'm thinking it's a SmackDown.
Audio-wise, this is going to be compelling.
Got it again.
Yeah.
Exactly, got it.
He was the champ for a little bit. I forgot about that.
And I was thinking SmackDown guy.
Yeah. I thought maybe back it was just a fan of the big fair they have up in Massachusetts around September, the Big E.
or maybe he just likes it when you call him Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
It's going on right now, actually, the Eastern States Exhibition.
I will actually be there either tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday.
By the way, Dan Backley will be on the Combat Cast with me and Chevy this week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, live. And we'll be discussing our big announcement coming up where you can check some videos out in ours.
I can't believe Dan Backley's taking the time to talk to you two schmucks.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've got something interesting cooking up cross promotion wise that'll be announced that day. And next week we have a big surprise for the fans, but you're gonna have to get on Fight TV and search for a certain event to find out. We're gonna keep it secret till then. We're gonna hype it, but we got big things coming for you, as well as a live 5-3-1 on Kazuchika Okada Dream Matches. And I'm actually going to be away for the weekend. So the PWI 500 segment is going to take a week off. So we have a lot of big things cooking, guys.
I believe that's technical term is big things popping.
Yeah, little things dropping. Randy, what's up, Randy Oscar? Yeah, so big announcement coming that weekend, though. Fight TV is where you're going to see it. I can't believe this shit's happening. I don't even want to sit on it, but we'll sit on it for a little bit. And Okada, top 5 Okada Dream Matches, huh?
Yeah, let's hope we get some responses there. It's been a little light the last couple of weeks compared to what we were getting before. The mothership, I don't know if they're digging our list as much. We're taking the suggestion we got, but we have to figure it out. What is this here?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Wow.
You might want to tune into a certain title versus career match. I think that's the most we want to say right now.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, though, if that other one happened, I do still have the power advantage on Styles.
Maybe. Yeah, he's in a different kind of shape right now, man.
Now, guys, do you guys want to talk anything else before we go get out of here for the day?
I'm trying to think. The only thing I really want to say, I think we kind of covered that little sidebar was I really became a big fan of Bandito the other night. I love what's going on with him. And I love, SmackDown tonight. Sami Zayn. I can't wait to see what's next with this guy. He's been like one of my favorite people on TV right now. So
how are we not going to talk about the fact that Saraya has not missed a beat? I mean, it was like 2015 all over again, just sharp as can be, on fire on the mic. I mean, boy is the lady division going to improve with this one. I hope her wrestling ability hasn't lost a beat.
Okay, so we'll tackle that real quick before we get out of here. Here's what's disappointing about that. I went from thinking the way she came out that, oh man, this girl's coming back to wrestle. And then I saw her last night, like doing some kind of quasi commissioner thing where she's booking matches. And I'm like, oh shit, they might not have her able to wrestle. And now it's like, it wasn't like it was booked so well or she spoke so well, or I was like, oh, that was a great segment. I'm like, ah, fuck. So yeah, that might have been, you talk about,
the initial pop might be the highlight of this run.
It might be. I don't know. We'll see. I hope she can wrestle or they have something for her. But yeah.
I think they should start off with a dog collar match.
When she came out, I thought they were just trying to use her to establish the women's division, kind of like give it some credibility. And, there's been reports that she's not cleared to wrestle yet, which it could very well be the case, but it was just a sloppy segment. It felt like that day. And I think it took away from a little bit of the hype.
She was trying to call up Toni Storm to give her props, and Toni Storm's like, wow, this is going down quick. It was like she was trying to stay away from her so she didn't catch whatever the hell Saraya's caught.
It wasn't. Yeah, I didn't. This wasn't one of my favorite Dynamites this past week, other than that Bandito Jericho match, which I thought they tore it down, though.
Well, I did enjoy the first segment. I thought that was fun.
That's I mean,
is
that what you liked?
I enjoyed Garcia showing a little bit of personality. So when he was talking about what the fans might like, I thought that was good.
And him joining Danielson, that was awesome. I'm surprised Luigi Primo got on TV again. He laid him out, which was great.
I think we've seen enough wrestling to know that with no physical actual interaction there, he might not necessarily be with Danielson.
Oh, yeah. I'm not convinced. I'm totally. I keep thinking Swerve the whole time here. Well,
He's not physically touching anybody from the Jericho
he's
Appreciation.
shut people down here or there, but he hasn't punched anybody or so.
Yeah, so we'll see how this match turns out. Tonight on Rampage, there's an interesting match for the tag team championship, triple threat match. So that will be one to see. Backley thinking Garcia will be on his own. That could be very interesting. Ooh, MJF versus Wheeler Yuta. That is definitely going to be a match to see.
Yeah. Can we get rid of the Gun Club? I'm usually pro NRA, but this is one gun club I'd like to see go away.
Yeah, they're still early in their run, so there's something to get used to. But guys, I think with that'll do it for today. Good luck next week with the Okada Dream matches, and I'm sure Roman Reigns or John Cena will be the #1 list somehow.
Hopefully we get more Zabisco next week.
Acknowledge me. Okay.